Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, everyone. We're Group 5 field presentation about the plot. This is our member. The first one is Vinesa Davina Azzahra. Second one is Rahma Zakiyah. And the last one is me, fatiya Auliya Sabrina. Next one. The first one is definition. What is the plot? The plot is the sequence of the events that make up the story. The plot is planned logical series of the event, having a beginning, middle, and the end. The short story usually has one plot, so it can be read in one sitting. The next one, the essential part of the plot will be presented by Vinesa.
Okay, thank you, Fatiya. So, the five essential part of plot, there is exposition, is introduce the reader to the setting and characters. Where you introduce your characters, establish the setting, and begin to introduce the primary conflict of your story. Next is rising action, as events in the story become complicated and the conflict is resolved. This part normally begins with an incident or a moment that sets your story into action. As it progresses, have multiple moments of conflicts that escalate and create tension. Next is climax, is turning point of the story. When everything in the story changes or when the main character is forced to make a decision. Next is falling action, is the event between climax and phenomenon. Di bagian ini, masalah menemukan sebuah penyelesaian dan event and complications start to fall into the place. The last one is resolution or conclusion is final outcome of event in the story. At the end of the story, in this part, we might know what happened in the end of the characters. Next, please. So, rising action it consists of the conflict. Conflict is essential to plot. Opposition ties incidents together and move the plot. There are two types of conflict, internal and external. In internal, there is characters versus self. It's struggle with own soul, physical limitation, choice, etc. In external, there is characters versus characters. It's struggle against of people. Second is characters versus nature, is struggle against animal, weather, environment, etc. And the last is characters versus society. It struggle against ideas, practices, or custom of others. Saya kembalikan ke Fatia.
Thank you, Vinesa. The next one is the properties will be presented by Rahma Zakiyah.
Thank you, Fatia. Special techniques in plot. First, suspense. The feeling of the excitement or tension the reader experiences as the plot unfolds. Suspense is to build an anticipation on event. Second, foreshadowing. A hint or clue about an event that will occur later in the story. If hinting at upcoming events or plot through a few phrases or events. Third, flashback, a section of the story that interrupted to tell about an earlier event. It reflects on past event or plot developments or explanation. The last, surprise ending, an ending that catches the readers off guard with something unexpected. A plot twist usually at the end or after a climax to shock the audience. Types of plot. There are 7 types of plot. First, tragedy. Tragic characters have to suffer. The protagonist is a hero with a major character's flaw or great mistake, which is their undoing. Second, comedy. Light and humorous character with a happy or cheerful ending. A dramatic work in which the central motive is the triumph over adverse circumstance, resulting in successful or happy conclusion. A hero journey. recognition, and reversal of a situation. It involves a hero who goes on an adventure, learns a lesson, wins a victory with that newfound knowledge, and then returns home. Right to riches. The protagonist is downtrodden, improvised, or otherwise struggling, and through a series of events, a poor protagonist acquires power, wealth, and or a myth, loses it all and gains it back, growing as a person as a result. Rebirth. The rebirth style of what follows a character's transformation from bad to good. Rebirth and even forces the main characters to change their ways and often become a better individual, overcoming the monster, known as the good and the evil plot. The protagonist sets out to defeat an antagonistic force, often evil, that threatens the protagonist and or protagonist's homeland. Voyage and return. The protagonist goes to a strange land and after overcoming the threats it poses or learning important lessons unique to that location, they return with experience.
Okay. Thank you, Rahma Zakiyah. This is the end of our presentation. Thank you very much, everyone. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.